Happy New Year, and welcome to another episode of Your Faith and Health Community. I'm your host, Pastor Jackie Jackson, and as always, on behalf of myself and our producer, Anita Alexander, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with us. Hopefully, prayerfully, we will give you some information that will improve your quality of life. Now, I know it's a new year, and you're probably thinking, with a new year, there should be new things. He's going to do something totally different. You would be somewhat wrong, because I am going to still ask you about health care. Open enrollment has just closed back in December. I want to know, did you, if you did not have health insurance, did you go to the marketplace and get enrolled in health insurance? Listen, one medical bill big enough can send you to bankruptcy. One emergency room visit can really do damage to your bank account. So if you didn't get enrolled, I want to know why. And this is a question you need to ask you. And remember, if you have an income of $16,258 or less a year and you're single, that makes you eligible for Medicaid. Now, Medicaid has no open or closed enrollment period. You can enroll year-round. If you have a family of 4 and your income is $45,000 a year, that still makes your family eligible for Medicaid. That includes dental, vision, emergency room visits, your doctor's office, prescriptions, glasses, dental, everything that you need. So because I have a really great guest, and I want to give you a little bit of break at the beginning of the year, because I'm believing that everyone who didn't have it last year got enrolled in one or the other. We're going to jump into our guest. We have a special guest. Her name is Sandra Wright, and yes, she's my cousin. It's out of all the things she's done, listen, she's a writer. She's a producer. She's a director. She's a creator. She's an interior designer. She's an elder. But today we're here to talk about an association that she started. So, Sandra, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Pastor Jackie. I am so honored and pleased to be here today and extremely excited about what the new year holds.
Well, I'm excited too, because it seems like, you're busy. It's kind of hard to get you here. So I'm excited that we were able to get you here to talk about Greater Cincinnati African American Heart Association, which is the organization you started.
Yes, absolutely.
Why did you start a heart association?
Well, as you know, and many people who know me know, 2 years ago, a little over 2 years now, I had a heart transplant. And so through the process of that journey, I realized through my experience that there was some things missing for our culture and the way that we do things in terms of support, networking, etc. And so as a result of my experience and seeing a need, God saw fit for me to be the one to answer that call.
And so the organization is here in Cincinnati.
It is.
So I see the name is Greater Cincinnati African American Heart Association, but what does the organization do?
We are currently in the position of offering information, awareness, and resources as they become available. And so we have monthly gatherings where we get together currently around the city in different locations, different areas, in various coffee houses. We have a annual gala, which is the Heart of Gold gala. And at that gala, we actually will present to a family or an individual who is being challenged by the challenges of heart disease. So just a lot of things that we have on par. I'm not at this point really ready and willing to share a lot of the things that we want to do and are going to do, because we're not aiming to repeat what's already been done. We want to come with something new and something fresh and something that hasn't been done.
And I think also, just so that the audience is aware and understand, this isn't an organization that you started 10 years ago. This is a extremely new. How new, actually?
Actually, we're just about I think we're less than 6 months. We started in August of 2019. We went public. We were doing things to build the foundation of the network and getting all of our due diligence in place, our documentation with the IRS, the state, etc. And then when we had all of that together, we decided to do a launch gala, which was our Heart to Go introduction gala. We did that in October. And so it's just been full steam ahead since.
And this is a nonprofit organization.
Yes.
So even when you're saying going public, so that some people don't confuse it with going public, that you went on the market, that you went on, that it went to the market.
Right.
This is a nonprofit organization.
Yes.
And reading some of the information where it talks about offering resources and support for that's impacted by heart disease for family and friends. What type of resources are you able to direct people to, or does the organization have specific resources, or is it a catalyst to make sure that people know where to go if they need help?
Good question, and it is a combination of both. So my team, my advisory board, and we're busy working now to make different connections and get plugged in to other organizations. We're soliciting for again, I don't want to divulge so much because I don't want to say something until we actually have those things in place. But we want to be able to, I'll put it this way, when an individual is in what they call an event or an episode, say for instance, like myself, when I was in the hospital, I was 2 hours away from here, Cincinnati. And so my husband was driving back and forth up and down the highway. With that came a huge expense that we did not foresee coming and weren't prepared for. So in the case of something like that, we are working to have resources in place where we can help to take the edge off of that for a family or an individual. And at this point, I don't really want to say much more than that, but it'll be something that can help them to kind of fill in the gap or give them a little padding with the unexpected expenses.
So basically, there are a lot of things in the works.
Absolutely.
And so you're building these coalitions, I'm assuming, community partners, organizational partners to help
Yes.
to be able to facilitate your goal.
Exactly.
Can we talk about, because I remember we're in Chicago, I think? And so being away from home, I'm a survivor.
No, I was in Indianapolis.
You was in Indianapolis, okay. I don't know where Chicago came from. Maybe I want some Giordano's pizza.
No,
That may be it.
remember I was doing the play. I was going to mount my play in Chicago when all of this happened.
Right, okay. I knew Chicago was in there.
Yeah.
And I still want some Giordano's pizza.
Okay.
But,
I love it too.
but what was that like? Because if you get sick, and especially if it's your heart or anything that's going to put your life in danger, being home doesn't make you any less danger. But sometimes being close to the people you love, the people who love you, things you're familiar with makes it easier. What was that like dealing with coming into this so far away from home?
I have had quite an interesting journey in life, as have yourself. My process was a little out of the ordinary. And the reason that I'm saying it that way is because my husband and I were both believers. And this was a particular Sunday when I was unable to go to church. And so he came home from church and said to me, I was laying in my bed, couldn't really hardly breathe, just in a bad way. And he came in and he said, I heard a word from the Lord for you today. And he said that you are not going to die. This is not unto your death, but it's a test for you for his glory. And so being the fact that I've had the history that I've had with God, and I've seen incredible things done in my life, I had no problem believing that. And so with that, my process became more like a vacation opposed to a crisis, because the fear of death had been eliminated for me. And so I just found myself in a place of peace and trust, and just believing that the outcome would be successful. I had no fear of dying. And so as I was sent to St. Vincent, which is where I received my heart, I was sent there. I knew nothing of this place. I knew no one in Indianapolis, and it was 2 hours away. And I was going there to get a heart. So yeah, with all of those dynamics, that's overwhelming for anyone. But for me, I was just in a place of total peace. And I know it kind of sounds strange, but it is my truth and it is my reality. So my experience was absolutely wonderful. My hospital stay, the staff that cared for me, I had friends and family that came to visit me on a regular basis, and they were driving 2 hours to get to me.
I remember your pictures, and you're right, you're sending pictures from the hospital, like you're sending pictures from the beach. just a different kind of swimwear.
Yeah.
So, and beach chair. And that definitely is something that speaks to our faith. I'm a survivor I'm a heart attack survivor.
Absolutely.
And so I know God is able and how good God is. The fact that you've taken what sometimes people take as a tragedy, and it is on one level, from the human standpoint, it is a tragedy, that you can look at, but our faith, where in James where it said, count it all as good, that's not always easy. I mean, it sounds good, and I like to say it looks good on a mug or a t-shirt, but sometimes when you're actually trying to count something that hits you that hard as good, it could be hard to do. But that's where our faith, being able to hold on to our faith, being able to cling and trust God, even trusting God to the point where, well, if you don't fix it, then I trust that I'm still good, and I'll just wait on Jesus, and we're going to go have a good time and go there. And since you started this association, you've connected and have had, well, actually before, to really connect with a lot of interesting people in this, I'm gonna call it a movement, in this movement or in this situation. Can you talk about some of those relationships that you were able to develop that otherwise you may not have ever crossed paths with these individuals?
Yeah, well, that's so true. I had the privilege and the opportunity of working with the American Heart Association for a good couple of years, and I met the most extraordinary, strong and wonderful and tenacious women who have experienced every kind of heart attack, heart situation known to man. And these women just pick up from where they are and they just continue to move forward. They were so inspirational to me, and I've met a lot of wonderful women and I've made contacts with them. And now, through the process of my journey and people who know me and know what I've been through, folks now just gravitate towards me, because someone who knows me and know what I'm going through, when they come into a point in life where they know someone else that is dealing with heart issues or needing a heart transplant, they will reference them my way. And so now it has just become one exciting life every day of meeting some of the most extraordinary individuals, because everything we go through, attitude is key. It really is. And if you can keep a positive attitude, no matter what happens to you, and look for the takeaways, the good takeaways, you'll be amazed at how much better that will make you in your life.
And what's that old saying, not old saying, what people love to say, but where Satan meant for bad,
that's right,
God turned to good. There's a young man in here, Noah Johnson.
Yes.
Handsome young kid.
Yes.
Since you have him on the website, tell us a little bit of something about Noah.
Oh, wow. Noah is just a young man so full of life and so full of zest, and just has a strength and a determination that is unbelievable. He's 12 years old now. Noah had hypo left, oh gosh, I always mess it up, but
Hypoplastic left heart
heart
syndrome.
Yes.
I've
And
never heard of it.
I hadn't either until I met him and his mother. Noah had a heart transplant at 11 months old.
Wow.
11 months old. And so he has been dealing with these issues his entire life. Not only is he dealing with that, but there is a multiplicity of other conditions that he's dealing with. He has at least 10 different specialists in his life. And he is so joyful and so full of life. And currently, if he hasn't been released, he's in the hospital now, waiting to go through another process. But every time I see him, he's happy, he's smiling, he's never complaining. They were the family that we honored at our first Heart of Gold gala. In fact, this family was the inspiration behind that. I have never met a mother that poured out her life for her children. And she has 2 other children, but Noah, just Noah alone, is all consuming. I mean, it's almost hard for her to work. She really can't work because he is a job. He is always at some kind of appointment, whether it's some type of therapy or he's going through a procedure or has something, and it's daily. And she's so challenged in so many ways, and so my heart just went out to that family. And I can't save the world, but I am certainly going to put my best effort forward in doing whatever I can, and as much as I can, and as often as I can. And that is the whole heartbeat of the Greater Cincinnati African American Heart Association.
Nice way to wrap that up. Before we're done, I just kind of want to touch also on, like I mentioned, I know you're a very creative person, and I can't think of how many times we've sat around and just kind of thrown the creative energy back and forth. Mm-hmm. With the association, can we look or expect anything still from the other creative side, from the theatrical side, either around it, dealing with the association, or connected to it?
Absolutely. You know the two go hand in hand. I mean, that's who I am. That's who we are. It's in our DNA. So yes, I'm on par for penning a book, a play, and a movie. And so all things happen in its time. I am just now scripting some of that material. And so over time, you'll definitely see that. But not only that, I bring that element to everything that I do. So even our events, our gala, or anything that we do within the community will always have that element of fun and creativity and connectivity. And on the point of that, I know that in talking with some, and they said they felt like that I put myself in a box with the name, including African American, and it made it seem like we're just isolated and only focused on one specific group, which is not true. We're here for all people, but we do have a special interest in those who have the highest risk and who are challenged by economic and social disparities. And so within the African American community, we know that there is a great need for them to have this education and the awareness and to be exposed to the type of help and support that we want to offer, because within that community is the highest risk factors, and the numbers speak to that.
And I would say this, because no matter what anyone does, and regardless of the race involved or whatever, there's always going to be someone who has something that they want to say that missed the whole point of what it's about.
That's
to
right.
go to something that has nothing to do with it. But if you want to know, if you're like, is this for me? You don't it's not about being. You don't only have to be African American. But if you want to know, hey, is this something I can be involved in? Would I be welcome? If you go to gcaaha.org, take a look around for yourself. Go to the website. Because if you go to the website, you will actually see that it's not just for, it's for everyone. But like I said, you're going to always run into people who are going to have something to say. When you're trying to do something good, they're going to have something. It's the way it works. And so we don't even worry about that part.
True.
We move forward and we keep going, because heart disease is a big issue, and we're losing people. We're losing a lot of people, young, old, babies,
Yes.
black, white. It doesn't matter who you are. We're losing people, and the Bible says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." That's not just lack of knowledge of the Word of God.
Right.
Even understanding our physical, our health. I've lost so much weight, it's not funny, and I am happy, and I feel the difference in my life. And being a heart patient, it was not smart for me to carry all the weight that I carried.
Exactly.
And not having it makes me feel good. And so I am happy for what you're doing. I'm happy that you got the association going. And even to say to people that sometimes out of what looks like tragedy becomes something really phenomenal, especially when you're doing it to God's glory, because that's what's important. And so I know, I know your cousin. So I know this is something that's your heart. Literally your heart.
Yes.
But also it's something that's in your heart to do for God's people, because we don't have people, but for God's people.
Absolutely.
And I believe and praying that God is going to make the association, this heart association that you've started, really take off, really grow. 6 months now, I'm waiting to see 6 years from now, when I have to come to California, or I don't know, just to see you, because it's moving on that level.
Yes.
So that's my prayer for you. Anything else that you want to say, or something that we need to know, a question I haven't asked, but that you think people need to know about this association?
Yeah, well, heart disease is the number one, not two, not three. Heart disease is the number one killer. And as Pastor Jackie alluded to, it doesn't see color, it doesn't see age, it sees none of that. And so even though it is the number one killer, there are things that can be done to possibly avoid even having the disease, which simply comes down to good health practices, taking care of yourself, understanding what's going on when you say so fluidly and so carelessly, really, I'm stressed out. You need to understand and know what stress is really doing on the inside of you and how it has an effect on your heart. Not only that, your diet. What are you putting in? We hear that saying, you are what you eat. And just like with Pastor Jackie, I myself have lost 17 pounds, and I'm still working at it, because carrying that excessive weight puts a lot of pressure on your heart. So again, join in with us. We'd love for you to go out to our site, become a subscriber with us. Certainly, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and your donations would be tax deductible. And so we invite you and encourage you to support this organization for the great work that we are on par to do. Visit us at www.gcaaha.org and go out there. You will see our phone number. You can subscribe. Take the time to go through and look at everything that's out there. We have an awesome product line, some beautiful sweatshirts. I started to wear one today, and I almost wish I had to help me with the chill that I feel. But in any case, just know that we are here for the good of all. And you'll see that as time goes, because I'm not just a president sitting in a position for the purpose of collecting a paycheck. This is very dear to me because it's my life and I've lived it, and I can be touched by the needs of what a person is going through with this. My experience was glorious, but that doesn't mean everyone else's is. And I'm sensitive to that. And therefore, this is my heart and my life, to bring hope, because hope is where the heart is.
All right. So on the way, and I want to make sure you mention this because we were talking about going, like you said, go look, subscribe, look around the website. But there's also, I saw at the bottom, and I missed this earlier, there is a chat
Yes.
link down there. So if you've got some questions, you want to know, you want more information about the association, you're just trying to get information, you know, maybe someone, your loved one or something is going through, maybe they've been told they need a transplant, maybe you've been told you need a transplant, or whatever it may be, click on. They're not doctors, so you're not going to get medical advice, but you are going to get some help. And one thing's for sure, it's always good to have somebody that understands what you're going through. It's great, and you have people, and it's good to have people who love you and they'll talk to you. But when you have someone who can say, I've walked out of the valley or out of the wilderness that you're on your way through, so let me share with you some roadblocks and some hills and some streams and some resting places. And that becomes important. There was a show, I don't remember when it was, in the 80s, the 90s, 5 Heartbeats. And they had a song in there, is there a heart in the house tonight?
Yes.
I can say that there is a heart in the house today because God blessed you when you needed it. And not only did he bless you with a heart, he blessed you with a strong heart. And then he blessed you with a heart to continue the work that he had started in you in the other heart that he said that was just a loner. This is the one that's going to take you the rest of the way. So I give God glory for that.
Yes.
So, Sand, thank you again for being here. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Listen, we thank you as well. We hope you got some information that will improve your quality of life. And we thank you for spending time with us today. Listen, get insured if you didn't. I know I said I was going to stop. I gave you a break in the beginning. I got about 30 seconds. I can bully you. No, I'm serious, but get health care. Listen, I want to mention a show that's going to be coming up that we just talked about, but I think it's something that will be important to some people. If you haven't noticed, and I can understand you may not, maybe my glasses glare, but my left eye does its own thing. It's an independent eye of the rest of me. And it's something that I've had all my life. And my mother, actually, if you remember, my mom, her eye was the same. And a lot of times for us that if we have different things, we want to call it a handicap or a defect or whatever, which we all have something, but some of ours are more pronounced. And I just want to say to you, don't let whatever you have that people may look at, joke about, make fun of, don't ever let it stop you from pursuing what you want to pursue. Because my eye is just my eye. It's not my heart, my mind, or my body. And so even with this eye, I'm going to go for everything. I want you to go for everything, but I want you to look out for the show. I don't know when. Anita will let us know when we're going to actually do this show. But when we do, I want you to pay attention. I want you to tune in. And if you go, hey, I'm perfect, then I'm sure you know someone who may not be as perfect as you. And you want to let them know to tune in. So until the next time, stay faithful and stay healthy.